Hey everybody, welcome back. So if you've watched my channel for any period of time, you'll know that I'm a wristwatch guy. I own quite a number of wristwatches. I've almost always got one or another on my wrist. No, I don't wear two like some people do. And you'll also remember in the past, if you've watched me very long, you'll know that I've done a number of projects concerning them. My spring-loaded wristwatch stand I did a while back that pretty much holds almost any size watch. And I use a lot of these stands I found on Thingiverse just for different print tests because it always seems like I need another one. I wonder why. Don't ask me to explain why I like watches. I guess it's like any person who collects stuff or any fetish, multi-tools, pocket knives, wristwatches, you name it. I can't explain it. But anyway, oh, and also you won't find any Rolexes or Omegas or Blancpains or Hublots on this channel. I can't afford those, and if I could, it'd probably stay in a safe and I'd take it out on my birthday and wear it for an hour and then put it right back in the safe. But anyway, recently, and of course in the last few years, the realm of inexpensive watches has pretty much moved to micro brands in China, and most micro brands are probably made in China. But I discovered this watch company in China called Northedge. And Northedge makes some really interesting pieces. This was the first one I bought from them. This was called the Apache. And this is a triple sensor watch, much like some of the the more expensive Casio G-Shocks. I think this one cost about 40 bucks. It does altimeter, compass, temperature. It's got all kinds of functions. It's not a smartwatch though. It just takes a regular battery and has that nice display. It's solidly built. I really like it. Then I bought this one, which cost about twice as much. And this is a hybrid watch. It has both hands on it and a second display. This one is also triple sensor with compass and altimeter. And the cool thing about this one is it uses the hands as a compass. But anyway, I decided to try one of their smartwatches. I know they made a number of different smartwatches, and that's this one here. And you'll notice it has a secondary little display. All the smartwatch functionality is down in that second display, and you just kind of swipe to get to it. Now, it's a pretty basic smartwatch compared to one of the Samsung or Apple watches or anything else. The hands are all just a regular quartz watch. It takes a separate battery. It has a regular little watch battery to power the regular quartz watch and hands. It's got some lume on the hands, and there's an 85 milliamp hour LiPo battery inside to power the little OLED display, which can last 4 or 5 days. So it's nice in that regard, and I kind of like this watch. It has that utilitarian tool watch look I kind of like. But the real problem, and it's got a heart rate sensor on the back, let me show it to you. The real problem with this watch, and I like the way it works, I mean, there's nothing about the watch itself I don't like. I wish the hands had more lume, but to be honest, it really isn't necessary. I also wish this time zone bezel were a traditional dive watch type timer, but it's got a timer built into the smartwatch functionality. Here, here, where is it? There it is there. And you long press here to bring, whoops, pressed it wrong. Anyway, it's got a timer built into it, but nonetheless, I have no reason to have multiple time zones. You can set the time of the hands different than the time on the OLED display. The OLED display is what ties into your smartphone, and it's set to the time of that your phone is set to. And you can also do what I do. You can set it to 24-hour time if you like, which I do. And but you could set the hands to a different time zone and then use this time zone ring to tell you what time zone you're in. Anyway, its big problem isn't the watch. This big problem is this crappy charger it came with. This charger is designed for you to plug a micro USB cable into, and then it's got these two pogo pins here, and you just set the watch on it and it charges. The back of this watch consists of a couple of conductors. And this worked like the first 5, 6, 7 times I used it, and then it doesn't work. You kept having to wiggle the watch around, and finally it wouldn't work at all. And the problem isn't the The design is okay. The problem is the implementation sucks. These little pins were spring-loaded pogo pins, and they're dead. They quit spring-a-thinging. So I could purchase new little pogo pins. Problem is they're two different lengths, and I got to purchase like packs of 20 of them, and I'd wind up with enough to last me 3 lifetimes, and I can't think of anything else to do with them. So I took the thing apart, and it's just about as stupidly simple as it can be. It's just this one little circuit board, which actually does nothing but provide an interface for the 5 volts to go from your charge cable to those springama things, those pogo pins. I can actually take a USB cable like this. I can actually take it and plug it in, and I got a power bank over here. I can plug it into this power bank and turn the power bank on. I can plug it in. Why won't the power bank turn on? There it goes. And I can just take bare wires, and this is how I've been charging it. I can just take bare wires, and I can do that, and it starts to charge. And I've charged it that way multiple times. I want to try and make something. I want to try and make a charging base for this watch so I don't have to keep taping bare wires to the back of it to charge it. So that's what I'm going to do today. That is what you've sat through my long intro to get to. So I've kind of got a design in mind. I kind of don't want the watch to sit flat. I kind of want to hold it up on a stand because I'm sick that way. So I've kind of got a design in mind, and I popped into Fusion and I threw something together. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, so before we begin here in Fusion, let me tell you that I'm just going to step through this real quick. I'm not going to try and give you step by step everything I did. Also, if you've never watched my channel before, and even if you have, I guess, be aware that when I come into Fusion 360 and I don't know exactly what I want, I throw a lot of stuff up just to see if I like it. And sometimes I'll get to the point where if I decide I don't like it, it's hard to go back and change the sketch or the feature because it's affected so many later things that I do like. So I'll just change it back in a later sketch or with a later feature, and sometimes that means I have a whole lot more steps down here than I really needed to get to where I was going. But you know what? Sometimes when you're just brainstorming things, for want of a better term, that's at least what I do. So let's just start out real quick. I just made a flat plate. I extruded it up, and then I extruded an upward part up so I would have something to build my next piece on. Then in the next sketch, I sketched out my angle to go up that I want the watch to sit on because I want it to tip back a bit, because my idea is to rest the base of the watch or the side of the case of the watch on a contact and then lean the middle part that's the positive up. The outer watch body and the outer piece of that back of that case is the negative. And then that center piece around the heart rate monitor, that's the positive. So I want to lay it down against something and then lean it back, and that's going to prevent me, I hope, from needing spring-loaded pins. So anyway, so I did that, and then I filled in that little gap I had. Probably there's a way to do that without doing that, but I was just, again, I'm just throwing stuff against the wall to see what I like. Then I put a hole in the top. And I put the hole here because that heart rate monitor part projects, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. So I'm just throwing a hole there to let the watch lean flush against the back. And then I made this ring around it. Kind of looks like that game you threw balls in when you were a kid. A lot of you probably aren't old enough to remember those. But anyway, down at Chuck E. Cheese, remember? And I'm even too old for that, really. Anyway, I want the watch to sit against this, but of course the watch isn't going to fit correctly in that ring because of the lugs. And you'll see one of the places where I would like to go back and change things but didn't, and that's because my circle here got cut off by the edge of this. But if I go back and change it, it messes a bunch of other stuff. Besides, I'm going to cut all that out anyway because the watch is not going to sit inside of that ring. So Next thing I did was cut most of that ring away. Now, I had originally let this come up further, and to be honest, I didn't know it till later, but I could have let it come up the ring progress around a little bit further than that. And then just because I like them, I threw some fillets in to kind of round things out. And then the next thing I did was I want to put arms out here because I don't want the watch to turn. I want it to stay pretty much in one position. Don't ask me why, I just think it's a good idea. So I made this little ledge out here that's going to contact the lugs that hold the watch band on, and then I mirrored it to the other side. So we're getting to the point here, and let's see what my next change was. Oh, I put some more holes in it just so it'll cut the print time down and use less filament while I'm producing version 1 parts that may or may not work. So I'm at the point now where I've got to print it because, quite frankly, I can't see anything wrong with it at this point. I need to hold the part in my hand and sit the watch in it. So I've reached that point. I printed one. Okay, so here is the part that you just saw me design. I printed it out of this purple filament. Kind of looks blue looking through the looking at the little camera screen, but it is a shiny purple filament, and the only reason I use the shiny purple PLA is because I printed the project I needed to with it. Now I have some left over, and very few people seem to want purple. So here it is. I'm just getting rid of the end of the spool. Now, here is the watch. Now, my idea is to put a contact. Let me see if I can find something to point with. My idea is to put the negative contact down in here so that when I set the watch in, the body of the watch contacts it, and then put the positive back here so that then when I lean it back, I've got both contacts in. So as you can see, I could have made that circle come around a little bit further, and I probably will in version 2 because it could have come up another 5 millimeters on either side and it would stop that rotation. Again, I don't know why I care. It doesn't matter. The rest of the stand seems to be pretty good. It holds the watch without a problem. And as I said, the entire body of the watch, with the exception of this one ring around the heart rate sensor, the entire body of the watch is the negative contact. This middle ring is the positive contact. So one thing I want to do is let's just test it, the stand with the strap buckle, just to make sure that I don't come up into any nasty surprises. And yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So that's going to work for me there. And absolutely, I think that's going to work. So I am going to make those few small changes in it, and then I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get those contacts in it. And what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of just getting some thin copper or brass, not even sheet metal, a little thicker than foil, but not quite as thick as what you would call sheet metal, and putting one in here, putting the wire in through the back, and bringing another piece down here and just having it protrude in this way and probably at a double bend so that the watch leans up against it, with that being the contact. And I may wind up printing some, what am I going to call them, some channels for the wires to go in and come down. But first off, let's go back in. I'm going to get those legs moved up, and to figure out where the holes are going to go, I think I'm going to put a hole right back in here. Can you see that? Right back in here. And I'm going to put another, I don't think I need a hole back here because the wire is going to be on the back already. It's not going to protrude through. That's my plan. I'm going to make those changes next, and we'll print one more and we'll see where we come out with that. And then I'll have to go out because I don't have any thin metal around that I can think of. Oh, you know what? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. I have lots and lots and lots of brass. Okay, so I did remake this part. I did make that semicircle go up a little bit further, and adjusted the angle of these legs a little bit so that the watch fits in it much, much nicer. Now, before I go any further, let me mention a couple of things. First, I did take the back off of this watch to make sure the battery has full protection, and it does. It is an 85 milliamp hour LiPo battery and has a full battery protection, overcharge, undercharge, and charge rate and all that circuitry right on the battery. So I'm safe there. I don't need to worry about having any kind of charge controller outside of the watch. And also this watch is now on sale for 41 bucks during the AliExpress sale. So if you're interested in it, and it is kind of a pretty interesting watch, I will put a affiliate link, of course, to it below. Now, I also have some small pieces of brass here, and I'll have you know that a 9mm cartridge case gave up its life to make these parts. You guys probably know I love using stuff I already have to make this, so what I think I'm going to do, I made this piece. So this piece, curved piece here, I am going to solder the negative wire to it, and it's going to go down right down in there, so that when the watch sits in it, that will contact the watch body. That will be my negative contact. Now, this little piece, and I folded the end over where it's going to contact the watch, so hopefully there won't be any sharp edges. It's going to go right back here like that, so when the watch sits back, it'll lean back, and the positive part of the contact will contact that, and this is going to have the positive wire soldered to it. Now, I've debated this little charger board that came with it. It has a little tiny resistor on it, claims it's, I think, 6 ohms, something like that. I've tested it, it's nowhere near 6 ohms, it's way under that. I'm assuming it's there either as a kind of a fuse or for inrush protection. I've been charging the watch by simply taping the wires onto the back, so apparently it isn't really necessary, but I've been thinking about simply hot gluing that right there and using it, but that's going to depend on whether I can actually solder to these little contacts. Now, normally I can without a problem. I should be able to solder to those, so that's what I'm going to start with. My next step is going to be doing the soldering of the wires, and we'll see how well that goes. I may even use the hot glue to glue the brass pieces on. And you know what? If this works out well enough, I'll probably just leave it as it is. If it needs some more changes, then I'll probably go ahead and take these holes out of it and put in some little channels for the wiring. But if it works really well, I'll probably not even bother with that. If this was going to be something that I was going to sell or for a customer, I would go ahead and prettify it. But since this is just a one-off thing I'm going to use for myself, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, let's do the soldering. Okay, that all did solder for me just fine. Hope you can see that. Tinned fine on the little pads on the circuit board, which it should. And wires went on. Wires are a little long right now, but I have made a couple changes to it. I originally had this board rotated down and realized that I hadn't really left enough room for the connector. And I used to have a 90-degree adapter, but I have no idea where it is. So I just heated the board up with the hot air gun to loosen the hot glue and rotated it. And other than that, that's pretty much all I did. The brass solders very, very easily. So all my pieces are in place. All we have to do is test it. Now I'm going to use a power bank like I did originally, because this watch doesn't, other than the first few seconds of when you charge it, you have no real indicator that this watch is charging. There's no light on it or no constant display that it's charging. And one of my problems with the original charger base is I'd set it down and I'd wiggle it around till it was just right. It would show it was charging. I'd walk away in 5 minutes, it would quit. So we're going to solve that by this. This watch typically charges it under 1/10 of an amp, usually about 7/10 of an amp. And that's just the charge circuit on the battery itself. So let's give it a go. I'm just going to plug this in like that. Going to turn the power bank on. Come on, power bank, turn on. There it is, there it comes up. And that's a very short USB cable, which is okay. And I'm just going to set the watch in it. The watch should give us an indication on the front, should give us a vibration and an indication on the front. And I'm just going to plop it down on there. And there's my battery charge indicator on the front. I did not hear feel the vibration. And of course the watch shuts off pretty quickly. Yep, it's not charging. So let's try it again. Let's just plop it down on there. There we go. Still didn't feel the vibration. Okay, now it shows it's charging. And as you see, the battery icon on the watch goes off. There is no other indication that it's charging. You can go to the app on the phone, and the app on the phone, come on phone, the app on the phone will show you, see it at the top, it'll show you the battery percent of charge, but it will not show you that it is charging, which is unfortunately. This isn't a bad app. Honestly, it ain't the greatest app, but it does steps, sleeping, exercise and training, and then the heart rate thing. And the watch does messages. You know, you get a call or a text, it'll show it to you on the little OLED screen. But yeah, it's still charging 0.7 of an amp. You can go back to the watch and tap it. It works better over if you tap near the 3 o'clock position. And there's our little charge icon showing that it is still charging. So, one of my concerns was that it would not stay connected because I am trying to ground through that black coating, which I am really not sure what it is. But I seem to have no problems getting electrical connectivity through that black coating and still charging. So if you buy one of these watches, and like I say, they are really interesting, and I'm kind of fond of it. They're 41 bucks now at AliExpress during their sale, and they're only like 44 bucks not on sale. So, and I got it on a different sale, and I don't know, I may make some modifications of this in the future, but for right now it does what I want. It charges the watch. Oh, power bank's off. So yeah, it charges the watch, and I'm obviously not going to use the power bank all the time, but I just used it so I could show you that it is actually charging and staying charging. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. If you like this watch or want to buy something else through the AliExpress sale, if you'd use my affiliate links, that'd really be great. I make almost nothing from YouTube, so a few extra bucks here in the from affiliate links really helps me out. Talk to you guys later. Hope you're having a great weekend. Bye for now.